Hey friends, it's almost Valentine's Day, but that doesn't mean it's too late to make a treat for those you love. And I'm going to show you a super duper easy one. This is almost just like making chocolate chip cookies, but with a twist. So let's start with 2 sticks of butter, and I'll have this full recipe in the description if you want to make them. I also added in some white granulated sugar and then also some brown sugar. And we're going to take our electric mixer and we're just going to fully combine these ingredients. From here, we're going to add in 2 eggs, and then some vanilla extract and almond extract. Now, if I was making these again, I think I would also use some cherry extract if I had it on hand. I think that would really elevate the flavor of the cherries in this dessert. From here, we're going to use our electric mixer and mix this all together for about 2 minutes or so. We want to get this nice and fluffy, and you can tell as you mix it, it starts to get a lighter color and really gets fluffy. Now, for the Valentine's Day part, I'm going to add some food coloring. And I really wanted to add pink, but I didn't have very much left. So I added some pink, and you can see it did not change the color very much. So I opted for red because a little bit of red is basically pink, right? So let's add some red in here. I still think it would have been better if I added all pink. So if you have pink, try that. But I had to go with red because that's all I had. There has been a snowstorm in Wisconsin, and we are homebodies right now. I was not about to run to the store for anything, and that's why I decided to make these as a treat because I had everything on hand. Now let's get our second bowl, and we're going to get all our dry ingredients. And this is flour, 3 cups of it. Then we added 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And then we also added some baking soda and a pinch of salt. And like I said, this is such an easy recipe. It's basically just like making a batch of chocolate chip cookies with a little bit of flair. Now, I just used my measuring spoon and stirred that all together. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to mix it all together in this butter-sugar mixture. Now, this is quite a stiff dough, so get ready to be mixing for a while, unless you use your stand mixer, and that'll be perfectly fine too. Now you can see I added some extra food coloring to make that color quite vibrant because I knew adding all that flour in would really lighten it up as I stirred it. And don't forget, you're going to be adding cherries to this, so that's going to be a nice bright color too. It does take a little bit of time, but get that all incorporated, and then we're going to bring over our chocolate chips. Now you can really use your favorite chocolate chips. I think even white chocolate chips would be really good in this. They look really pretty too, but I opted to do half semi-sweet and half milk chocolate. You need about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of chocolate chips for this recipe, depending on how many you like in your cookies. Now here comes the fun part. We're going to bring over these maraschino cherries, and you want to take them out of their jar and dry them off just a little bit. We want about 1 cup of these chopped up. So I have the larger size jar, and I used the entire jar for this recipe. So I'll speed this up a little bit. I just sliced them in half first, and then I chopped them up a little bit smaller pieces with a nice big knife. And that was enough just to get them nice and chopped because we want small pieces in these cookies. And then I took just a few more, and I'm going to chop them up because we're going to add these to the cookies once we have them in balls before we put them in the oven, because that way you can see them nice and bright on the top of these cookies. So we're going to stir this all together, and then we're going to make balls. You can do it with your hands, or you can use a large scoop. I always prefer to use a scoop when I'm making cookies because you don't have to hardly touch them, and they're all uniform, and it just works out perfect. Once you have those all together, we're going to put about 3 or 4 chocolate chips on top. And then we're going to do the same thing with little pieces of maraschino cherry. And the reason we're doing it is because then when they cook in the oven, those are going to be front and center, right on top, nice and bright. And it really just makes the cookies look a little prettier. Now, you don't have to do this part. You could just do the balls and cook them and they would taste just fine. But you know, if it's for Valentine's Day and you're giving it to someone you love, you want it to look perfect. We're going to bake them at 350 for about 15 minutes because I did use that larger scoop. Look at how pretty they turned out. They're so nice and bright and colorful. Now we're going to let them sit on this pan for about 5 minutes before we transfer them over to our cooling rack. Look at those. Now if you make smaller cookies, don't cook them for quite so long, but I did use my big scoop, so it was 15 minutes. We're going to transfer them to this cooling rack until they're fully cooled. But do you think we're going to wait until they're fully cooled before we try them for you? Of course not. I'm calling in my husband and I'll give you our reaction. Here they are. Oh, they're still cooling, but chocolate chip maraschino cherry cookies. I don't know if my pink turned out quite like I would have liked it to, but let's try them. I'm going to try this nice big one right here.
I'll just take a bite off of that.
Bite off of it.
She had me at maraschino cherry.
Almost spilled them. Better not do that. It's soft. It's chewy on the edges. Good chocolate.
Getting that good cherry flavor.
Yeah, this is good. It's not too late for Valentine's Day. It's almost too late for Valentine's Day if you're not watching this on Friday, but still make them. They're fun. And honestly, if you don't want to do them for Valentine's Day, just don't put the food coloring in.
Our love is always in season.
Aww. Here you go. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Bye.